100 years ago, a Frenchman became the first person to fly an aeroplane 22 miles across the English Channel.
I think he was terrified for the flight, but I think he had to do it.
It was the biggest leap forward in aviation since the Wright brothers took off a decade earlier. These were the pioneering years of flight, and scores of aviators raced to become the first to cross the Channel. The Daily Mail offered £1,000 to the winner, but it was to be a Frenchman who would claim the prize. On an overcast summer's day, the pilot nursed his plane over the White Cliffs at Foreland Meadow. It was here that on the 25th of July 1909, Louis Blériot crash-landed his aeroplane, writing himself into aviation history. He nearly didn't make it. As he came into land, he cut the plane's engine and dropped heavily to the ground. When it was later removed, the shape of the aircraft was left in the grass. A chalk memorial in the shape of his plane was later replaced with granite. In Cambrai, northern France, where Louis Blériot was born and raised, his achievements are celebrated at the City Hall.
My grandfather has always had an iron will, and since the time when he was a student, he wanted to build a flying machine and to be able to fly. So he succeeded in the end. It was not easy for him to design and fly the plane with which he crossed the Channel. This cross-channel flight came after 10 years hard work and research and more than 30 crashes, which he fortunately survived.
With a single wing, the early versions of the Blériot monoplane were made from lightweight ash, with some pine wood in the structure and fabric wings, held together and controlled with thick piano wire.
Obviously, there aren't very many objects that remain from the flight. It was just one aircraft, although the aircraft was damaged on landing, so souvenirs were taken by people, and a number of those souvenirs have reached the museum collection. This is part of a propeller. This, we think, is part of the superstructure. This piece of fabric, I believe, comes from towards the tail of the aircraft. A head of steam had been built up behind it because Blériot had entered the fray, so it was who's going to do it first. So it was a very interesting thing. And a large infrastructure had been set up to do it. There were boats out in the Channel in case of accident, and they'd scoped out landing grounds. The landing ground that Latham was going to use was up at Aycliffe on the western side of Dover, and they'd removed telegraph poles and this sort of thing so that he could actually make his landing. So it was a huge disappointment to the people of Dover when Latham didn't make it. When Blériot set off, nobody was expecting that flight because the weather had been very poor, been very windy. And a Frenchman appeared at the Lord Warden Hotel and told the reporters from the Mail that Blériot was on his way and he was going to meet Blériot up at the castle. But unfortunately, the reporters didn't speak French, so he didn't understand a word that he was saying. So when the telegraph finally came through, the wireless message finally came through, they went up to Aycliffe to wait for him. Whereas the French party went up to North Meadow, where of course Blériot landed.
Mikael Karlsson is a Swedish pilot who found this Blériot 11 from 1910 and lovingly restored it to its flying glory. He's set to recreate Louis Blériot's crossing of the English Channel as part of the 100-year anniversary at the end of July.
You have to be very careful what you're doing, because this aircraft is from the beginning just designed to fly, nothing more. Take off and land in calm weather. You know, this is the first aircraft that, one of the few that really could fly. You didn't expect more from it. So the thing is that if you try to push the aircraft in, say, in strong winds or situations, you know, something will happen, because it's not designed for it. You know, there was a thin line between success or disaster, and now it happened to be Blériot. He was one of them who could do the flight. So he was a lucky guy to be in the right time at the right place at the right time. He was one of the greatest names in aviation history.